In this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to make a beautiful card using the new JND438 Anastasia flower and the daisy stripe in 3D embossing folder. And for this technique, you can use any of the embossing folders, and we're going to show you how we do the embossing folder where we use the black over there. So I'm going to show you this technique on here. So the Anastasia flower is one of my flower plates. It's the new release for this month. And this has a slightly different petal formation in that you've got a larger petal than a smaller petal. So it's kind of like a duo flower, but it also has a slit in the middle. So you can see here, just made up plain. They almost look like sunflowers, or could be used for starbursts. Really great for masculine cards as well. But you have this little split, which means it's very, very easy to actually mould and shape this flower. But also you can pop your poker tool in and open that up, or cut them to make sort of tassel flowers as well. So nice and simple to use. So first of all, we're going to do the embossing folder. So I've got the 3D embossing folder here, and it's a 6x6, and I simply cut a piece of card down to 5 3/4 by 5 3/4 so that we get all of the design in. You can obviously emboss a 6x6 piece, but the other reason that I use a 5 3/4 inch square is I get 2 of these from a piece of A4 card, and obviously that's a lot more cost effective. So once you've embossed your piece, which we've got here, you want to colour it, and we're going to colour this on the debossed side. So you don't want the raised side, you want the side that goes in. If you think sort of inny belly button, that's one of the best ways to actually work this one. And I'm going to ink this using the Fusion inks, and I'm going to use the Fusion Gold, as this gives a beautiful sheen and shine through the black that we use. So I'm going to use the Sunfruit, and I'm getting to the point where I may need a new one of these, so it won't lay down as heavily as it would do normally. And all I'm going to do is colour down. You don't have to be prescriptive, you don't have to be neat on this. You simply add your colour down where the flowers are. I'm then going to take the kiwi, and I'm going to put the kiwi down where these dots are on each side. So this is picking up the dots on each side, and it's also picking up this little stitch line. We'll put a little bit here for this stitch line, and I'll do the same on the other side. And again, with this, you're not trying to be neat. This doesn't need to look neat. It will look very messy when it's first done. You can change the colours and do whatever you want to. Then I'm going to use Blueberry, one of my favourite colours. And for Blueberry, I'm just putting it down the stripe. So you see now, again, not trying to be too neat, I'm putting it down this stripe. So when you've finished, you'll actually see you've got a very messy look. That's not important. So I'll bring one here that in. Here you can see that I've already done. It is very messy. It's not neat. It's not what you put on the front of the card. But to turn it round, all we need to do then is to take a black ink pad. Now, I tend to use a VersaFine Onyx Black, as this is a quick it's a relatively quick drying oil-based ink pad. Because I don't want to use a pigment ink that's going to be sticky. And all you do is gently rub that over the top. And all you're trying to do is to cover all of the top with black. And you can see there straight away how it immediately changes from messy to neat. So I've got one here I've already done, and I've rubbed all over with black, and you can see now what we're seeing is definitive stripes. And the pattern really pops when we go from something like this, which is messy, to that. It really does work. So now I need to use the Anastasia flower, and this is one of the easiest ones going. So you simply take a piece of, and I'm using coconut white essential card because this has a beautiful sort of finish to it. And again, I'm using the Sunfruit, and what you want to do is you're trying to cover this, but not completely. You're making it look cloudy. So you're not trying to get an absolutely perfect cover. So realistically, the messier this is, the better, because that will give you lots of tones and shades. So I'll just do half the piece for speed. And as you can see, I'm not trying to get it nice and smooth. I'm getting a messy look. And this way, with the sunfruit, it has a copper finish, but I get that beautiful copper sheen on a flat piece of card. And we then take, you can use a fan brush, you can use your hand, whatever you want to. And I'm just going to lay down some water, because these are water reactive. So I could spritz the card as it stands, but I'm just going to use a little bit of water and a fan brush and just flick the water on, and the colour will start to bleach and turn a lighter shade wherever the water is. And you have two options. If you leave the water to dry, just like this, then you'll get a sort of more soft or runny look. Or you can take a tissue or a piece of napkin and go over to bleach some of the colour out. But it isn't necessary with the Fusion inks to do that. It will just dry perfectly. And then we get that sort of beautiful rain splashed look, which is perfect for flowers. So we'll just clean up the rest of our water and pop our fan brush away. And then all I'm going to do is to cut this. I'm going to trim this down. The piece I'm using has been cut to 5 3/4 inches. I'm just going to trim this down to 4 1/8, which is the perfect size for the flowers. I'm simply going to pop the flowers on. So the die on, it's one die plate altogether. Little bit of tape. You may find with the ink, it doesn't tape very well. So I tend to use a little bit of tape onto the bottom plate to keep it in place. It's a detailed die, so I'm going to use a metal shim and then a 3mm plate on top, and I will bring in my Kaleido to cut this and simply run it forward and back to give me the perfect cut. We'll move that out of the way. And we'll see there, we get our perfect cut flowers with the cut lines in each place, which is exactly what we want. Let's lift the card off and you'll see each one of these pops out. But because we've made the paper not to be all one colour, we get those different tones and shades in each flower, which makes them look so much more natural. You can see here if I hold one up. So you hold a couple up there, you see completely natural. So to shape these, I'm going to take the Crafts 2 moulding foam, which is a solid hard foam. You don't want a soft foam for this. The softer the foam, the harder it actually is to shape your flowers. So I'm simply going to turn those over face down, take the ball tool that comes with the foam and just run it all the way around the section of the petals to make them pop like that. So I'll just do these 4. I then turn them over and just scribble in the middle. And it gives you that beautiful sort of like a dog daisy look. So many different flowers you could make from this one. And sort of give that the look, and I think I've actually got the right sort of name. I think now it's sort of like a, is it called a black-eyed Susan? Never the best at these sort of things. So I'm just going to add a Craft Artist black pearl in the center to really make that pop, and of course that will match with the black of the card. So nice and simple flower making without having to do a lot of work or a lot of fuss because of the split in there. So if we bring in our card blank, and I've made this as a top fold, I've cut out a square using the square and the little dotted square from the JND439 square belly band. And it's really easy to get this in the center because I've designed the folder so that it's all even. So we get that simply there in the center. And then I'm just going to add my little sort of matching flowers. We'll put 3 on one side and we'll have 3 on the other side, keeping that main sort of focal element in the center. And because we've used the same colour ink as we've used in the background, then that's really worked. What you can do if you want to finish this off is to use some of the smaller pearls and just pop one of those in the centre of each of your coloured flowers. Really simple to do because I made sure the centres were the right size to take these smaller pearls, and it just makes the whole design pop and match with those flowers that we've made from the Anastasia flower. And there we go. A simple card with a beautiful finish, all made just using the Anastasia flower die and our daisy stripe 3D embossing folder. For more ideas, hints, tips and inspiration, why not visit the Crafting with John next door and Crafts 2 group on Facebook.